Hey, what's up? Welcome to the dive bar. Go ahead and grab a seat. Hang on a second. Hey, here. This one's for you. This one's mine. Oh. So let's get into it. Dolphins suffer their first loss of the season. A very humbling loss. A beat down. The team that scored 70 points last week comes away with 20 this week. Gets beaten by almost 30. Final score: Miami 20, Buffalo 48. Miami drops to 3-1. Second place in the division. Buffalo goes to 3-1, first place. Buffalo, man, they're that team. You know, that was a statement win for them, in my opinion, because they were like, yo, like this team, this is like the talk of the town. This Dolphins team, like, not so fast. Like the Buffalo Bills are and have been like the bane of my existence. When I was coming up, when I was a kid, it was Marino versus Kelly, Miami versus Buffalo. And, you know, it was like Thurman Thomas, all those guys. Like, it just didn't seem to matter what Miami did. Like, Buffalo just always had our number, it seemed. Miami just completely owned by Buffalo. Like, recent history speaking, you know, 1 win in the last 10 games versus the Bills. Probably actually even the last 11 or 12 games versus the Bills. And that was last year's win in Miami. Haven't won a game in Buffalo since December 24th, 2016. So that'll go on, you know, for another year. Or if we catch them in the playoffs and they have the home field, you know, then we can go for that revenge. But anyway, what happened? So what happened in this game? I refuse to believe. I refuse to buy into that McDaniel team overlooked Buffalo. I refuse to think that this was a trap game. Because you score that many points and then you're coming in against a division opponent that you always had trouble with. You're not coming in over cocky. You're not coming in believing your own hype. You're coming in to play. And it seemed that way offensively for the first couple of drives, because it was like, you know, we thought it was going to be that heavyweight slugfest of you guys hit first, we counter, you hit, we counter, and then just back and forth. But that just was not the case, man. Some final numbers: Tua, 25 for 35, 282 yards, a touchdown, a pick, and then that sack. Tua gets sacked 4 times today by a defense that just swarmed him, just put pressure on him constantly got to him, hitting him, 4 sacks. He got to do all the little moves that he learned in jiu-jitsu to keep himself healthy. And he stayed healthy, because he took a couple of good pops and he got back up and he didn't show any effects of it. So, that bulk weight that he put on in the offseason and the fact that he got in there and wrestled him up, I mean, hey, maybe it's working. Who knows? Now, one of the only good offensive performances today was our man, Achan. Achan had 8 carries, 102 yards, 2 touchdowns with a long of 55. Dude balls. Tyreek and Waddle, even with all those injuries that Buffalo had in the secondary, they lost Poyer before the game. They lost White. They had a couple of injuries in the secondary, and they still made the Dolphins' offense and the receivers look pretty pedestrian. Reek had 3 catches, 58 yards, no touchdowns. Waddle, 4 for 46. And that poor guy, I mean, his season has been so in the dumps so far. I mean, he would have had his first touchdown catch of the season, but unfortunately that gets called back by a penalty on the center, on Liam Eichenberg, who was covering down for Connor. The best receiver that had the best day, I guess you could say, was Braxton Berrios. Because he has 6 catches, 43 yards, and he caught 2 of his only touchdown pass of the day. Offensive line, with the injury, lost Teron Armstead during the game. I don't know his status, but we lost Connor Williams before the game. Eichenberg had the cover down to start. They did, they were serviceable most of the game. It's just that pass rush at times was just too much. So the game starts. Dolphins win the toss, defer the kick. They want the ball at the second half. So Bills start. Very run-heavy offense to begin with. Just a couple passes, it seemed like when they did pass, receivers were wide open for Josh Allen. And that, to me, was like the theme of the day because Allen, many times today, when that pocket was breaking down around him, like when the Finns were actually able to bring some kind of a pass rush, he just constant movement and improvising. When he improvises, he finds guys wide open, soft spots of the zone, or they just beat their guys one-on-one. And their guys were getting beat one-on-one today, man. Kader Kohu had a terrible game in coverage and in tackling. But anyway, on the first drive, Buffalo goes down there, they score. But Miami answers back. I mean, the first 2 plays, you got Durham Smythe in the flat, and then you got him on the seam and getting, chunk yards. Good blocking on one of A-Chain's touchdowns. Then Buffalo gets the ball back, they go down and score. Miami gets the ball back, they come back down and score. A-Chain with another big touchdown run. Good blocking by Smythe on it. And good play by Tyreek Hill being in the backfield, kind of drawing the defense's eye, saying, "Oh, what's this guy doing?" And then here comes on the end around. H.N., just walks it in basically. So after Miami's second touchdown, that's pretty much when things went off the rails for the Dolphins. In that next drive, you get a 43-yard PI flag on Kader Kohu. He just didn't turn around. He didn't get his head around. It was good coverage. Don't get me wrong, it was good coverage, but when you don't whip your head around, I mean, it's Josh Allen, it's Diggs, it's the Bills, one of the top teams in the AFC. They're gonna call those flags, and they did. And then Diggs had the touchdown where literally he started his route at like a very slow jog, like a jog that you would see like a power walk that you would see like the older people do when they're like walking the mall on a Sunday morning, right? Nobody was covering the guy. The linebacker bit down a little bit, and the ball is just thrown right over his head, and there's Diggs just right there, wide open for the touchdown. Those guys were constantly wide open for the touchdown. And I don't understand, Vic Fangio, I guess, I don't know what his thinking is in terms of Xavier Howard. Like, does he not have any faith or any belief in Xavier Howard? Because, I mean, he left Kohu on that island all day covering Diggs, all day shadowing him. And he just let him feast and didn't switch it up at all, Fangio, as far as the defense is concerned, through 4 games, they've given up an average of 29.75 points. So that's almost 30 points a game that the defense is giving up. It's, for a team that wants to consider itself one of the more elite teams in the league, a team that has, dare you say, championship aspirations, you're not winning championships when you're giving up almost 30 a game because, I mean, even though that offense is top-notch, I mean, games like today show you that, hey, you can be stopped just as easily. So your defense is going to have to make stops for you as well. The offense, really sputtered at the near the end of the first half in that second quarter. They had back-to-back drives where they went 3 and out. Couldn't get a first down. They went 3 drives where they couldn't get a first down. Mostert, he fumbled on the one drive that Braxton recovered, but that was a 3-and-out drive. And then he comes back in that last one, and he fumbles again, and Buffalo gets the ball. So Mostert finished 7 carries, 9 yards, no touchdowns, 2 fumbles. I mean, I know Mostert's a surfer. He must have been surfing earlier in the day because his hands were just wet. He could not hold on to that football, man. Second half, started good for Miami. Started the way that they started on offense. They were able to move the ball down the field. Finally get a first down. Tua ran one. That's when they hit Braxton in the end zone for the touchdown. Tua's only throwing touchdown of the day. And Dolphins go for 2. I don't get it, but they don't get the 2-point conversion, and that was it. That was it for the half. They scored 6 points, and they didn't score nothing else for the rest of the game. You got to give credit to Buffalo, to their defense, even with the injuries. They held everybody in check. They gave up some runs, but they gave up 3 touchdowns against what is considered, one of the more high-flying offenses in the league. They made the adjustments that I feel that Miami just didn't, And going back to Allen, that dude would throw the football, right? His receivers were so open today that he would throw the football to, I think it was Hardy, who was wide open, made a diving catch near the, running back to near the sideline to make the catch. Still is able to get up and run the remaining yards to get the first down, all before he was even touched or tackled. And then Allen again with his improvisation, he's able to just bounce out to the side. It looked like he was going to run it, so David Long Jr. bites on it, starts to run after him, and then you have James Cook wide open, down the side, which, a 7-yard pass turns into 48 yards. Defenders just getting burnt all day. Tua, in that second half, he had a turnover. It was destined to be a turnover, right? Because he got lucky, and the Bills defender dropped a pick six, what was going to be a pick six. He was just looking downfield before he actually secured the ball in his hands. So then what goes on a play or 2 later, Tua was looking for Robbie Chosen, who's running down the middle of the field, overthrows him right into the defender's arms. And that was Tua's 1 turnover for the day. Coach McDaniel's play calling and design, when I said that McDermott and the Bills did a good job of second half adjustments, I don't feel that the Finns are there yet. I don't feel that Coach McDaniel is there yet when it comes to second half adjustments. Sure, they scored some points earlier in the year, but when something's not working for them, the game plan is the game plan. So he's just he's gonna do it regardless, right? I said last week, he's the peacock. You gotta let him fly. You gotta let him do his thing. He's got that real avant-garde play calling style. He does things differently, and he's a good coach now. Okay, but what's really gonna make him a great coach is when he can marry that avant-garde play style that he has, and when he can couple it with the traditional model of football. Because going for 2 in that situation, or even on the 4th and 1, where you're thinking, hey, the numbers say just hand the ball off or throw a quick slant and just barrel ahead for that yard, But he got cute with it, and then Miami gets a turnover on downs, and those are momentum killers. I talked about Vic Fangio's defense. I talk about the in the 4-game sample size, the 29 points per game that they're giving up. They say, conventional wisdom says it takes roughly 8 weeks for a team to really learn the intricacies of a new system that they're learning. This is week 4. So with that personnel, I truly feel that, this team, because that defense was pretty good last year, I feel that they have to get through these growing pains, but once they get over the hump, I think that the defense should really be able to tighten up. I don't think that they're going to be a leaky hose all season where they're just constantly giving up yards. I don't think this is going to be like 90s, 90s Dolphins where, it's offenses throwing 400 yards a game, high scores. Offense has to score 40-plus points a game because the defense can't stop nothing. I think that they'll dial it down. They'll fine-tune it. They'll get it in. I've seen nothing to, really make me feel 100% confidence in that, but that's just what I choose to believe. Players of the game, this game for me, I give Devon Achane game ball for his offense, over 100 yards, long run, 2 touchdowns. He was the guy that really earned his paycheck today. They all earned their paycheck, but he's the only one that really balled out today. And on defense, I got to go with Van Ginkel again because he had 2 sacks and he's the only guy that could really pressure and get to Josh Allen, take him down, that big body. So he balled out. He gets the player of the game for today. Dolphins 3-1. Got to go home, be back in Miami, back at the Rock next week. They'll play at the time of this taping, the 1-2 Giants. The New York Football Giants are coming to town. Giants play Seattle Monday night. So we'll see what their record is coming in to week 5. Miami has to rebound. And with games against the Giants and Carolina coming up in the next 2 weeks, I think that's a good, an opportune time to rebound. To really start working out the fine tuning and the details and get away from things that aren't working and implementing things that could work on the fly. The Dolphins cannot be the streaky team that they were last year. The streaky team that they've been since friggin' Flores, where you lose your first 7 games, then you'd win 7 or 8 games in a row. Or last year with Coach McDaniel's first season where because we've won our 3 and then we lost the 1 and we can't let it compound into 2 or 3 losses in a row like it did last year. Win 3, lose 3, win 5, lose 5. If you have those aspirations to be not just a playoff team, not just winning a singular playoff game, you gotta stay tough with it, and you have to get over these losses and string together more W's. Well, I'm finished with this one, which means we're finished with this video here. Next week, like I said, we got the Giants. Hopefully, we're a little happier. Can't really expect to go undefeated. You're gonna have to deal with your lumps, and that's what good teams do. We take our lumps, but then we're gonna give those lumps to so many more teams this year. Not even worried about it. Buffalo still is the toast of the division, and that's who we're trying to rise up to be. So, to be and beat. So I ain't too worried about it. Hey, thanks for stopping by the dive bar, and hey, salute. We'll see you.